two PlayStation exclusives that I really want to play. I have something else I'd like to play. And the other one is God of War. Now, God of War 3 is the first game I played on the PlayStation 4. Now, there are several bundles available for the God of War games, but all of those are on the PlayStation 3, and the PS4 is not backwards compatible, which made me mad at the PlayStation. But after playing through God of War 3 again and getting that platinum, on to God of War 4. So for anyone living under a rock, God of War stars Kratos, a Spartan soldier turned god who spends his games hacking and slashing through the creatures of Greek mythology in order to murder whatever deity has him feeling a bit crossed. Now where Uncharted is a fun action-adventure, God of War is a blockbuster epic as these games contain some of the most insane moments of gaming. But now that we've spent 3 games and 3 prequels ripping apart Greek mythology, time to move on to the next. God of War starts with a much older Kratos and his son Atreus chopping down trees so they can cremate Atreus' mother. After a quick hunting trip and a troll boss battle, we return home and are confronted by Boulder, who looks like a guy you meet at a California music festival. I did, he helped find my girlfriend's phone. Boulder is a Norse god who is cursed with feeling no pain and an inability to die. Something he lives with miserably, so when he hears that a certain Spartan moved into town with a reputation of murdering immortal beings, his first thought is, let's be having you. So after taking care of that, we embark on a journey to a mountain peak to scatter the mother's ashes. Now, God of War is tackling Norse mythology, so any of that terminology you learn from watching the Thor movies will come in handy. Odin, Midgard, Asgard, Valkyrie, Dark Elves, Thor. We even get access to the Bifrost that allows travel between the 9 realms. You don't have access to all of them, but that's what sequels are for. Now what's interesting here is how dedicated Kratos is to burying his past. His blades gone, his old voice actor gone, his control scheme gone. God of War is such a new direction that they don't even do those awesome cinematic camera angles. Instead, it's now an over-the-shoulder boulder holder perspective, which is a shame because it robs God of War that neat flavor it used to have. Now, God of War has some very fun side characters. There's the 2 feuding dwarf brothers who act as our shop, the witch in the woods who turns out to be the goddess Freya and Kratos is really crossed about it, and then there's Mimir. Oh, Mimir. He offers help so we chop his head off and wear him like a belt as he acts as our entertaining guide for the rest of the game. Now let's talk about the combat. Kratos replaced the Blades of Exile with the Leviathan Axe, which is a powerful ice axe that you can throw and call back to yourself. The fighting feels more like Legend of Zelda, as you focus on certain enemies at a time and the shield is almost a necessity. Something I neglected in God of War 3 to a point that I almost forgot it existed. Also, you use square to have Atreus use his arrows to attack the enemies, or more importantly, distract them. Now, I have an issue here. The enemies here aren't thrown at you so you can just rip through them. No, they actually put up a strong fight and take way too long to kill. That and all the enemies are essentially the same, so the fighting gets extremely repetitive. These hordes of bland enemies get so exhausting to deal with over and over that the Rage of Sparta, a last resort move that should be used when backed into a corner, is just used to make some of these sections end faster. But then I get thrown these enemies that destroy half my health, and the only way I'm able to beat them is by choosing the axe throw. So I'm playing this game on medium difficulty, but my god, this game is hard. I feel like I get to say that because I beat Titan mode, and it's not because I'm breezing through. No, I do all the side quests, craft armor, upgrade skills, look for chests, gather loot, and even hit those Eyes of Odin, but I almost quit this game against these 2 Wolverine enemies that not only do a lot of damage, not only dodge most of my attacks, and not only have a lot of health, but they also dodge the axe throw. Instead, I dropped difficulty and started ripping through hordes and crunched these bigger monsters and actually started having a lot of fun. But tear down one wall, there's another. The game then became too easy, like almost insultingly easy. Sure, making these enemy bundles go away faster is great, but even larger enemies like ogres become pushovers, and the repeated troll boss battles are over before I know it. Now what I've been impatient for is the holy shit that's badass moment of the game, something God of War games are known for. It comes close against this electrical dragon boss battle, but I'm not too impressed because I had this exact same boss battle not too long ago in Super Mario Odyssey. It came when Atreus fell ill and Kratos needed to swallow his pride and beg the witch goddess for help. She sends him to Helheim, the land of the dead, but his axe won't work there. So Kratos takes a slow boat ride back as the music builds up, reaches his home and starts seeing visions of Athena as he wraps chains around his wrist and grabs the Blades of Chaos and starts ripping through hordes of enemies. Holy shit, that's badass. God of War is really great, despite it being a completely different game from previous installments, and while I may not be completely happy that God of War is now another open world with a million collectibles, repetitive fights, repeated bosses, and grinding for wrist armor you probably won't use, I still found myself enjoying it a lot. The crown jewel here though is the relationship between Kratos and Atreus. I read it somewhere online. Kratos is trying to teach Atreus how to be a god, while Atreus is trying to teach Kratos how to be human. The game's also insanely cinematic. I would make another movie comment, but I feel like that might just to be retired as most games are feature films at this point. Now recently my girlfriend brought over her old PlayStation 2. I believe it's a slim model. But now I can introduce a new segment called Things I Can Now Do Now That I Have a PlayStation 2. God of War 1 and 2. They're great.